457 right now, but clearly it's
Really?
already, yeah, on the computer. I don't know.
I got 5:01.
Okay, well, we're running late, but not
Official Apple time 5:01.
okay. Well, like I say, my computer says 457, so we're gonna goof it all up here, I'm sure. And yeah, we're gonna try. So I tell you what, Chris, let's stop at my computer time for 5:55.
Okay.
That way we don't run into Dylan and Leslie's show.
Okay.
Okay. So, hey, everybody, it's Matt, and we're at Texas Toast Guitars.
And I'm Churse.
Why do you say that? Do I misspell it?
Yeah.
Every time?
Not every time.
Is it misspelled now?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
It is. Tell Matt it's misspelled. Not on the thumbnail, but on the
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's all right.
Well.
Lately, I've had trouble when I'm typing with W's.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know why, but none of them show up. I was looking at an email today, and there were like 4 W's that were missing.
Huh.
We would, no, E-ud.
So when I asked you, did you see our cool new swanky thumbnail? You said, yeah. And then you said, I wanted to talk about it. Really, what you want to talk about is all the grammatical errors.
No, I was the actual thumbnail, the picture on the thumbnail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, really, that's all you need to know about our trip to California.
That's right. El Caminos and
beach.
Yeah,
and hot chicks.
Broads.
Yeah.
And surfboards.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now, people will tell you they saw us there. They're lying. We were at the beach the whole time. No, we didn't see any of that.
I wasn't at any beach. I didn't see any water at all.
No, but we were we stayed in Santa Ana, and that was cool. I've never cruised the strip in Santa Ana before.
Let's take a super chat from Dastardly Dave, who writes, ad free is for me. Brian is still making me do it. God bless you, Dave.
Yep. And your shirt is packed up, but I didn't see the UPS guy today, so
the Woodwire and Volt shirts are cool.
Yeah.
Did you get him one of those?
Yeah. Oh, no. I got him a shirt at the airport.
Yeah. California.
Yeah, we rented
California raisins.
I was all ready to get him a t-shirt, and then we ran into this 3 for $10 store. And I was like, it's gonna be a better deal.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
3 very, very marginal shirts.
They're all medium size.
Yeah.
No, the Woodwire and Volt shirts.
They're double extra large on the tag.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I got you the real deal.
Cool.
So,
did you get one from there?
Did I personally get one from there? I did not.
I didn't either. Jim got a couple.
Got a couple of them. Yeah, I did not get one. Not sure why.
You guys might be noticing, and before Butch chimes in, there's no guitars on the wall. Know why there's no guitars on the wall?
Because there's no guitars.
They're all gone. Yeah, we sold all the guitars. So
we did a fairly heroic job of selling everything that we had at the end of last year, 30 days ago.
And we sold, there's actually one guitar that's available right now. But we sold the second to last one yesterday. And that's the cool leopard one with Dylan's matching leopard chrome P90.
I don't even know that we ever showed that guitar off. People may have seen it here or there, but I don't know that it ever really truly made a finished reveal.
Well, it's gone, Daddy, gone.
It's gone now.
Yeah.
So guess what? No reveal tomorrow.
Butch says, "Hey, now I promise, no stupid questions this week." Butch, if there's no stupid questions, then what are we doing here, man? No, the last time we didn't have any guitars up, which we've only done a live stream one time where there was no guitars.
Right.
Butch that no guitar wall is freaking me out. Put some guitars up there. I remember stuff like that. I don't know why.
Yep. Yeah. Well, there will be more guitars.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Are you tired too?
I wasn't until
5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Oh.
So anyway, Chris, you and I and Jamm Jimmy were at the Woodwire and Volts trade show last week.
We were.
So there was, and we flew out on Wednesday night and we were there Thursday night. We're going to tell you guys all about the show. That's why there was no live stream.
Right.
Interestingly enough, we thought, well, maybe we can do a live stream with Dylan while we're in California.
Yeah.
First thing that I want to tell you guys about the Woodwire and Volts trade show is that it doesn't really get jumping until about 4 or 5.
Yeah, it kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit through the midday portion. Right about the time you thought it was going to wind down, it ramped up, and then they had after hours things go on, and there was a lot of action after hours.
That was some of the more some of the neater stuff happened to us after hours, especially on Friday.
For us, productive conversations. Yeah, were after hours.
But we met a lot of really cool people. We got to hang out with a bunch of people that we already knew.
Yep.
We went out and we got beers with Hat Mike and
on Wednesday we did,
and Jason and Shark Air, and we had a great time. Bob. Yeah,
that was really fun.
The only bummer part about that was I didn't get pizza.
We did not,
and that's nobody's fault but my own.
Well, but what did we get then?
Oh,
a hamburger.
That's right. Oh, now you guys need to know this. I don't drink nearly as much as I used to. When you go to Southern California with Jim and Chris, and you are the designated driver, Jim and Chris drink a lot. I mean, that's just what,
I'm not going to disagree.
No, well, you can't disagree. Well, I guess you could, but So Wednesday night, it was an hour and a half drive around Hell's Half Acre, Southern California, looking for a hamburger place.
It wasn't really that.
It was also the same thing on Friday night, but
and not really. I mean, we hit the place fairly easily.
Friday night was better because it was just like we drove by one, and I'm like, here it is. It's this. Yeah, it was good.
Well, on Wednesday, it had to be a specific burger.
Yeah, that's right.
And on Friday, it just had to be.
It was just
food
in your whole food for your food hole. Well, so anyway, Chris, let's talk a little bit about the thing. Well, then we'll get back to the Whole Foods for your food holes.
Okay.
Good. So we got in Wednesday night. We got up early on Thursday.
Didn't have to be there super early.
No, but in fact, they actually wanted us to not be there until about 11:15, because we had a table, and the whole idea was that guys who had booths, they wanted to give them enough time to get their booths set up and not have
the booths were all along the wall. So the tables, people moving in, they didn't want a bunch of junk in the middle.
And the tables weren't even set up yet.
No, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, though, when we got there and I saw what it was, I was really excited. Not to throw shade at Pete Henriksen and his Archtop Festival, but this was laid out really neat, way neater than Pete's. Again, not to throw shade at Pete. I think it was the venue more than anything else, because there was a great big hall.
Yeah, it was a bigger room.
And then there was another great big outside hall that was open air, but had a roof.
Yeah.
And so that's where they were going to have, like, I was surprised that they didn't have the bands on that stage, but I think they couldn't because it was in a neighborhood.
And it was there's a noise ordinance thing. Yeah. I think they actually had to even finish on the loud night early because
I think so too.
The neighborhood noise ordinance.
Yeah.
So if you look up the place that we had it, that this thing was that we had it, they call it a wedding venue.
Yeah.
And it does lots of other stuff.
What did you think? Like before you saw it, you're like, wedding venue. What did you think it was going to be?
Well, so I Googled it and I thought it was going to be bigger and maybe have multiple rooms because everything was so decorated in different colors. And we got there and it was all just plain white.
Okay. You think they took pictures at different times?
Yeah, and they cover it in chiffon and whatever wedding stuff you want. But since it was all dudes, nobody cared.
No one cared.
So it was just all white, but it was nice and tall and airy and open, and that outside area, the new covered thing was really, really neat. And that way, if you needed to get out of the room for a minute, you could. Not that the main room was loud, but
it's funny because and they had a stage set up and they had a guy who was jamming out. They had a coffee thing set up. They had a bunch of like old couches with, like carved wood scroll stuff on it. It was really neat, actually. So you could you could get away from
you could get out, or like if you wanted to grab some food and sit out there and eat, or to take a phone call, or just sit down for a minute. You could do it.
So I've been slacking here. Hey 3J Music, hey Dave, hey Jay, hey Steve, hey John, hey Doc. How you guys doing tonight, man? It's good to be back. It's good to be back in the shop and do videos.
Weird to think that at this time last week we were there.
Yeah.
And we'd be just right about now. Things would be officially really getting
ramped up.
Yeah.
Now we didn't have the opportunity to. Hey, Hat Mike is here. He sent us a super chat and says, "Good times while you guys were in town. Thanks for letting me tag along." Of course, Mike. It was great to have you there, man. Mike was okay. So before we even got there,
California shipping and receiving.
That's right. Mike received some guitars for us because we flew in really light. We were high speed, low drag. Because we shipped some guitars. We had some suitcases full of like promo crap. We had 3 guitars with us. We had 3 guitars that got shipped there. That's a total of 6 guitars.
We each checked the bag. And we each carried on a guitar. And as far as I'm concerned, every time I fly, I should just carry on a guitar.
Even if there's no actual guitar in it.
Everybody thinks you're a rock star.
I just keep my underpants in there.
You can.
They don't need to know.
Carry an empty bag. But I got asked several times, what band do you play in, and things like that. My favorite move is to walk onto the airplane with the gig bag, and because there's always a stewardess standing there, and say, "Do you think we're going to have room for this?" Just a good opener. And I'm sure. What band? She said, there sure are a lot of those on this flight. And I said, I'm sure that those are my buddies. Oh yeah, what band do you play in?
Dangerous Toys.
I said, have you ever heard of you ever heard of Aerosmith? No? Well, that's the name.
Did you join the Mile High Club?
No, okay. She was not the I thought we had a little witty banter going back and forth, but she was not the designated stewardess in our area.
I see. I'm not 100% sure what the Mile High Club is, but I imagine there's pamphlets on board.
Boeing 737 I don't think is the airplane to join the club on. It's a fairly small aircraft, but they were very nice and accommodating, and of course we got all our stuff in. It's never ever been a problem for me to find space for a guitar on a flight.
So one of the reasons that we had a table, which was the smallest display format that you could get, was because we were the very last people to be invited to the show. Not because, well, I don't know, maybe because they didn't want to invite anybody. But we didn't even know about it until Dylan did that video with Carlos. And I called him maybe like after the video went live or something. And he said, they're doing this cool trade show during NAMM. And I'm like, well, that sounds neat. See, and he's like, it's an invitation only show. And I'm like, well, see if you can get me in. So Dylan hooked me up, or Carlos hooked me up, or Curtis Novak hooked me up. Somebody or everybody hooked me up. And we got in, and the display fee was very reasonable. But we had to travel light because we had the smallest display area that they had, and as it turns out,
they tell you what it is. And a 5 foot by 2 foot table is very different than a 5 foot round table. There's a lot more space on a 5 foot round table, and that's what we had. So we weren't really sure how much room we were going to have. We weren't really sure about the layout.
We weren't really sure how sturdy the table was going to be, frankly. And as it turns out, it was excellent.
Yeah. And so, so we had 6 guitars total to display.
Mike Beckloff sent us a super chat and said, glad the show went well. First of all, thank you, Mike. And second of all, your guitar shipped on Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember. And yes, we had a great time at the show. What's that?
Shipped from here.
Shipped from here.
Yep. Should have it then tomorrow.
Yeah.
If he doesn't already have it.
Yeah. Now, I told Curtis Novak that I would get a table again next year. I actually asked him if we could sign up for next year. He said he didn't know if he was going to do it. His wife said that she knows they're going to do it. So
he told me it was like a one big as soon as it all happened, because that's all he was thinking about since about I forget what month, July or August or something like that.
I actually know a little bit about that because when I worked for the magazine, we had a convention every year, and every year the convention was a big deal. Anyway.
Yeah.
But the table was great. I would get another table again. And I was talking with Jim, and he said, you know what we should do next time, though, is see if you can get the booth. And I'm like, I don't even know how much the booth costs. But I think that if we had the booth, we would need way more stuff.
That's part of it.
We wouldn't necessarily need more guitars, but we would need something that looked like not just the same table in a booth now, but yeah.
And there were several people that basically had that. And there's a good side and a bad side to have a booth on.
As it turns out,
I'm convinced. A light side and a dark side. And so I was totally happy with what we had. And the nice thing about the thing we had was you could walk all the way around it. It wasn't up against the wall. We could move around the table.
Yep.
And people, we were easy to find for the cheapest space that there was, as far as cost, we were in the mix. Unlike some other shows.
Yeah. Unlike the NAMM show.
Unlike the NAMM show, where we would have been relegated to the basement. Yeah, near the trash can.
And we have been. The one time that we did the NAMM show, it was not particularly a great spot, and it was
and
part 5 times more expensive.
Yeah, part of that was because I think we got in late on the deal. This time we got in late on the deal, and it was ideal.
One of the neat things is, unlike the NAMM show, there were booths along the perimeter of the show, but there were no booths in the middle blocking your line of sight. So if you walked in the front door, you could see, if nobody was in, imagine that you walked in the front door, and there was nobody in the hall, you could see everything. You could see everybody's table, you could see everybody's booth, you could see everything.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a bad deal at all. I really, really liked it.
No, it was really cool.
Brad Guitar Miller says, glad the show went so well. Sounds like they saved the best for last. Dylan's guitars look so cool. Great job. Thank you, Brad.
Yeah. We should get a table next year and then block the view.
We should. Dave says that we need to set the triple neck up for a photo op. And Dylan said exactly the same thing. I think everybody's right. Like
everybody gets their picture taken with the triple neck.
If we had a booth, like I was saying, we would have to fill it up with some stuff.
Yeah.
And the hater maker would
be yeah.
Yeah.
The fun thing to do would be to set that guitar up in one of the booths where you could actually play it. Like if we could talk the satellite guy into setting it up there, and you go in and
that'd be funny.
That would be fun for a little bit, for a day.
Dale Gribble, aka Rusty Shackelford, aka I'm not going to tell you his real name, says, hey guys, again, can't get over how good my Challenger Level 3 is, and I don't mean anything about the pickups. The guitar is amazing. Thanks, man. Well, I'm glad that you like it so much, because that Level 3 is an excellent instrument, and I know when you're talking about that one was really cool, man. I'm glad you like it.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Okay, so what do you think, Chris? I'm good with a table. I'm good with a booth.
I would be good with doing almost the exact same thing that we did. It'd be nice to have a little more lead time as far as what we wanted to take.
Yeah.
That was a little bit of a rush, a little bit of a push. But now we know what it is. It's a known quantity now. We can gear up for it. So the way we did it, we thought we would have limited space and we'd have 3 guitars on the table and 3 guitars underneath the table.
And we would rotate them.
And then it turned out, we have extra room. So we just sort of strategically placed the guitars on the table.
If we had more stands, we could have fit all kinds
of table or whatever you wanted to do. Yeah, there were guys with probably 8 or 9 guitars in that same space on stands. So yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about who was there exhibiting.
Everybody.
Well,
I was going to print it out.
Well, not everybody was there, but
I was going to print it out and then we could talk all about each guy. But
some of the guys you might know about and some of the guys you might not know about. So the big name players were Carlos Lopez from Castadosa Guitars and Curtis Novak from Novak.
They're the ones that originally thought of it. I'm not sure who thought of it first.
Yeah. So you guys already know we are there.
Yeah.
And then those 2 guys too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I talked with both of them. Did you talk to both those guys?
I talked to both of them. I would say at length. Yeah. I would count both of them as friends now.
I didn't talk with Curtis very much. He was kind of getting dragged all over, like not just by customers, but by, people going, here, you need to sign this. Hey, you need to pay for this, venue stuff.
The hot time to hit Curtis Novak up was?
When's that?
Not when he was at his booth.
Oh,
when he was at the bar.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't spending a lot of time at the bar.
Yeah.
But,
that is actually when we had some of the best conversations, 2 or 3 minutes here and there.
How about Carlos? You talked to him for a while?
Yeah, quite a while. And had some really, really good conversations with Carlos.
Yeah.
Who was a very, very good guy.
Really salt of the earth kind of dude. He had his whole family seemed to be there. Like anywhere you looked, there was a Castadosa shirt. Like they had it on the backs of their shirts or on the front or whatever.
It was almost like Castadosa Mafia, because every time you saw somebody that looked like they knew what was going on, they had a Castadosa shirt on. And tall guys and big guys and black shirts. But it was kind of funny. It was like, oh, Castadosa. Yeah. Okay.
I was talking to him and he said, I really want to come out and see your shop.
Yeah.
That is to say, Carlos said he wanted to come out to Colorado and see TTG. And I'm like, well, yeah, man, anytime. I mean, I think that would be really fun. I hope that we can make that work.
Yeah.
I don't know what his schedule is. So don't go, hey, is Carlos coming out next week? He probably, I don't know. I would imagine though, I think that if he says he wants to do something, he's not just, blowing smoke. He really wants to do it.
I didn't get that feeling at all. And he said, hey, you guys need to come out here. And, if you need any, advice or you need any, it would be great to sit down and talk. And I'm like, yeah, it would be great to sit down and talk because he's done something pretty remarkable, and I kind of went into it with, I didn't really know, but after talking to him for just a few minutes and meeting everybody that was with him and had a fun little conversation with his son for a while about guitar playing.
Yeah, he was bopping around all weekend. Yeah. I'm going to say all weekend, even though it was Thursday, Friday. Just know I'm talking about.
It felt like a weekend because we weren't here, and it felt like a weekend, but it was Thursday and Friday.
You know who else was very, very sweet? At one point, he comes over and he goes, "Hey, come over and meet Abigail Ibarra."
Yeah.
And so talk about a nice, super, super nice lady. So we all got to meet Abby Ibarra and her daughter. I can't remember her name right now.
I can't either.
Someone chime in and let me know.
Yeah, and she likes guitars. I said, "Do you even like guitars?" She's like, "Oh, I love them."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So her daughter said that her very first job, and I don't know what Abigail Ibarra's first job was. For all I know, her first job was winding pickups. I don't know.
It was certainly, I don't know that it was certainly a Fender, but she started in 56.
56. So, but anyway, her daughter said that her very first job was working for Grover Jackson winding pickups,
okay.
like when she was 16 or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And the funny thing about Abigail Ibarra and all of those workers back then, I said, so I know for a fact that you did more at Fender than just wind pickups. And she said, yes, I think I did almost everything, and so, yeah. And she is tiny.
She's not big.
No, she's not tall. She was never tall.
Yeah.
And her hands are minuscule, very, very small. And I asked her, because, sometimes people that work with their hands a lot have a lot of problems. And so I asked her, how are your hands? She held out her hand and looked fine.
Yeah, she wasn't
not riddled with arthritis or anything like that. She still likes to wind pickups and do stuff. And yeah, it was quite the deal to meet her. It was really neat. And then I asked her when Jim and I were standing there talking to her, I said, can you tell us a story about Leo Fender that you've never told anybody before?
This is pretty salacious.
She said yes. Now, I'm not going to tell everybody that story.
It's not salacious at all, actually.
But I'm not going to tell them the story. But if you meet me or if you come to a class and you want to hear the story, I'll tell you the story.
And you remember.
To ask me about the story that Abigail Ibarra told me about Leo Fender. And she was like, maybe I shouldn't tell you this story. I've never told anybody this before.
It's a fairly But
it was interesting, and you got a real glimpse of her in that story.
Yeah.
So it was very sweet and very nice to meet her. And Jim was beside himself.
Well,
then he decided that
because I don't know,
go home and tear apart his 57 Strat to see if her initials are on any of the pickups.
I don't know if Jim knew who she was by looking. I did not know who she was just to look at her.
Yeah,
you might have seen pictures of her before.
Yeah.
But she came over to our table and was checking out our guitars, and she went to everybody's exhibit, which you could do, by the way. It wasn't like the NAMM show where if you were there for every single hour of the show and you spent 30 seconds at every booth, you could see everything. It was not like that.
I saw several people that I knew that walked in that I didn't talk to until they made the rounds of the room several times, maybe. And then I finally stopped them and talked to them.
Yeah.
So
that was pretty
fun. Do that. And you could do that. Yeah. You get an overview, start taking a deeper look, get stopped by Chris. Yeah. Figure out an awkward way to get away. And then
there you have it. Yeah. Anyway, so when Jim found out that this was the lady who worked at Fender from 1956 on, and it is very possible, in fact, it's very likely that she had something to do with his guitar.
I would think there's at least one pickup in his guitar with
maybe. Yeah. Okay, let's take a couple of things here. There's a couple of people who have said some really nice things I want to get to here. Skeen Run. I'm butchering that. I apologize, but I'm pretty sure that's not your Christian name. Said, I'm glad you guys had a productive time. I must say the prostitute I purchased recently surprised me with the amount of sustain it has. Wonderful build. I feel like a thief. That was the black one. I think.
The black one. Yeah.
That guitar
was a cool guitar.
Really nice. Yeah. I'm glad you got that.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a point in that guitar where I said, this is a nicer guitar than we think it is. So
it once it got all the way intergalactic, it got really cool, really fast. Yeah. So I'm glad that you got that. I'm glad that you like it, my friend.
Good.
Butch says, so was this the place to be to find new TTG dealers? Well, actually, Butch, let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about what happened on the first night. We had to fly 1,000 miles to talk with the guys from Wildwood, who are 20 miles north and west of us. So if you guys aren't aware, Wildwood Guitars is easily one of the 10 biggest Fender custom shop dealers in the world, probably. They're in Louisville, Colorado. and they're about 20 miles from us. Now, I have no idea why we've never gone over there and said, hey, do you want to carry our guitars? I suspect it's because up until very, very, very recently, we haven't had a dealer program to talk to them about. Mm-hmm. So it wouldn't have made any sense to go up there, right?
Yep.
But we talked with Greg from Wildwood Guitars for about an hour. Mm-hmm. And I was under the mistaken impression that, there was going to be Greg from Wildwood was going to be handing out checks for, for 20 grand for, here. Yeah. Okay. Here's a bunch of money for a guitar, but he really liked our stuff. And now it's up to us to follow through.
Yeah.
With Greg from Wildwood. We're going to get to some other guys too.
So. Yeah. I think that's true. But I mean, he stood around and talked to us, and we talked him through our ideas of our dealer plan. And he seemed to like many of the things that we said.
And by the way, this was at about 9 o'clock at night on Thursday night.
Actually, it was because Dylan had just left. He was like, man, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I think that was about 8:30. Okay. And so, so I think we left there at like 10:30. So it might have even been 9:30. But anyway, he came by and we talked and talked. And I think, I think that went really, really well. I was really happy with the way that went.
I am too. And I'm not going to be, I'm not going to let up. I think that's a perfect match for us. Mm-hmm. Another cool person we met after, Greg from Wildwood was a guy who had a booth very, very close to ours, and that's Gio from Black Volt Amplification.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's also a guitar maker.
Yep.
And what a neat guy. Super artsy dude, wears a cool hat. By the way, I was wearing a completely different hat all weekend.
That's your judgment.
Well,
he's got a cool hat. I'm going to go talk to him. It was funny because
so
nobody met until after the show, and then that's when you met everybody.
If somebody has a distinguishing characteristic, cool hat, mole, I don't know, something like that. You might, but wouldn't you rather be the cool hat guy than the mole guy? There was no mole guy, but not. There's no bucktooth guy. There was no, but Gio was there, and he I don't know. He looked like
So
he looked like he was like Johnny Depp or something.
Well, so the funny
way
thing
more
is
swarthy.
So everybody left, and he came over and he thanked you for videos.
That's right.
That's how he introduced himself. Was, hey, I watch you. I know you. Mm-hmm. And
that happened to me a lot more than I want to talk about, actually.
Okay,
but it did happen to me quite.
But
often.
It did happen, and it happened quite a bit, and and honestly, I think that's maybe why why some of them didn't come up earlier. Was that aspect of it.
I'm so threatened. No, not threatening, but
no.
They're just starstruck of me.
I don't want to say that.
And my cool hat.
I don't want to say that, but I think you got to give it a little bit of time,
maybe,
and then you can go up and meet them. So,
what did you think of my show hat versus this hat that it still had the pencil roll brim?
It was funny because I kept looking at that hat and going, "Oh, I've never noticed that." Because it wasn't the same.
It's a different hat.
It's a different hat. So,
Anyway, so
that was cool, and he makes some really rad stuff.
Well, so he makes amps for like the guys in the Black Crows and Aquaman and a bunch of people on his list that I don't
Jason
remember.
Momoa.
Yeah. And we were talking to him, and he's like, "Man, I'd love to come out to your class and do like an amp workshop." Mm-hmm. And so Jim is currently in talks with Gio and his wife about them coming out in 2025 and doing an amplifier workshop. Now, this dude is like, that would be so fun to have him
personality.
Come out. He absolutely,
Mm-hmm. And it was fun just being around him and hanging out with him. He's really into reclaimed stuff. So a lot of his guitars, all of them were made out of something. They used to be something else.
But super neat guy and totally larger than life. He's like Jim. I mean,
and his amps are cool. They sound great. And we could put something really, really cool together with him. That would be a lot of fun. And there might be even a guitar and amp thing.
Yeah,
like a quickie. I don't want to say quickie, but you don't spend 2 weeks here doing all this stuff.
Yeah, but given his aesthetic, I think it would be maybe like what'd you say, reclaimed, right? Because he did a lot of stuff with reclaimed and like making something cool out of something that looked like there's no way that's ever going to look cool. He had some really neat guitars. He had some super cool amps, and he's such a nice
made out
guy.
Of the bleachers
from the Hollywood Bowl. Yeah, what a cool thing! I forgot about that. Yeah,
of the seat from the Hollywood Bowl, and I don't remember when they stripped all that stuff out, but he ended up with a bunch of that stuff.
That's right. That's right.
That was pretty neat. Yeah.
Okay. So that was pretty much day one. Did we have to like go find a hamburger after that?
No.
We had because they had tacos.
Yeah, they had so they did a really nice job with lunch and the first night they did dinner. The second night they just had more sandwiches for dinner, but that was fine too. But yeah, the first night they had a bunch of outside demo stuff going on that we partook in as well. So there was tacos and pizza and nachos and some other stuff outside.
And if you got your VIP badge early like we did, it was all you just got to you didn't have to leave. That was cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we could always hang out.
Yeah, you could eat.
The other smart thing that we did is we made we made friends with the guy that was sort of the enforcer, the Buddy. Yeah,
that's right. We're going to talk more about Buddy,
the MC, and yeah. So he seemed a little like a ball buster at first.
He was a ball buster. Mike got ball busted by
100% buddies with him.
I think he was going to make Mike tap out.
Yeah, I think so. He was even like seeking us out there at the end.
Yep.
So yeah.
I talked with the guys from Frank Brothers Guitars. Talked with Tone Ranger. Talked with Gets. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Is it Gets?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna print them all out so that way I could remember all their names.
You know, the only guys I didn't talk with. We talked with the people from High Voltage Guitars. The only persons that I did not talk to was the guys from Built Guitars. That's the only guys I didn't talk to them.
I talked to them.
What were they like?
We talked paint. They were very, very nice. Yeah, it's weird because you're walking around with this badge that basically says I'm not going to buy a guitar from you. Right? Yeah. Because I'm a builder too.
Yeah.
So I tried not to.
And that's always a bummer.
Too much. But if they were willing to, if they were willing to talk a little bit, we talked a little bit. So guys from Built and I talked about Metal Flake and what a pain in the butt it is. And their stuff looked really good.
It did look good. It looked almost as good as ours. That's how good it looked.
Well, but I mean, it's their stuff was consistently good.
Yeah. Chris, that leads me into another question that I want to ask you. I'm going to ask you the question, then I'm going to read a comment from Priestley Custom, California Custom.
Okay.
Then I'm going to have you answer the question. Okay. So you got a little bit of time to think about it. So my question to you is, how did you think our guitars compared? And it's a bad idea to compare your stuff to somebody else's stuff.
It's not a contest.
But if it was a contest, how do you think we stacked up against the rest of the people at the Woodwire and Volts show? And while you're thinking about that, Priestley California Custom says, at TTG, you guys rock. Thank you very much. Offering a top tier product for the fairest price in the industry. Thank you again. Offering lessons. Thank you. Helping junior builders, creating a community. I appreciate you guys very, very much. Well, that is a very, very kind thing for you to say.
It's funny. It's a lovely thing to say. We heard there as well.
We did. Yeah. Mike says that Buddy was really cool, but the first couple minutes he wouldn't let him go upstairs. So.
Yeah. He would not. So I thought our guitars were as good or better than anything else anybody actually had there.
Yeah, I would put our stuff up against anybody's at the show. I didn't think that like we were really like way outclassed by anyone. Now, if you didn't like our guitars, that's one thing. I like Frank Brothers better, or I like Castadosa better.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah. But there were
some aesthetic choices in there. I mean, Carlos makes a very, very different guitar than we do. But all of his stuff is very consistent and very well done.
Yeah. And he's a world-class guy too.
Yeah,
so
yeah. And there was a lot of neat guitars. I don't like to go around and criticize people's guitars, but there are things that I will look at when I first look at them, and there's things that I will look at as like a whole, and then I'll sort of narrow it down from there. And I thought, our guitars, we did everything better than they did. Or as good.
Where do you
built guys make really, really nice
they make great guitars?
So,
yeah.
Everything
looked terrific. Where do you look when you're at a show like that, at like someone's guitar? I look, the first place that I look is right here in the cutaway area. If there is a cutaway, I look right here. If there's a volute, I look at that. Where do you look on the show me where the nice man touched you? Yeah.
So the first thing I look at is string path at the end of the neck. That's my new favorite place to look here.
Okay.
And it needs to be consistent.
Okay.
The next place that I look at is right here, especially if it's painted in gloss.
It's funny because I look at the opposite end of that.
And I look at that too.
What are you looking for? You like scratches and stuff?
Yeah, it's a hard place to buff. And it's a hard place to sand all of the stuff. So it's an easy place for it to look a little rough.
By the way, speaking of volutes, my video for Sunday is going to be all about volutes.
All about volutes.
All about volutes.
Yeah. And
so and what they do and what they don't do.
Yeah. And so the other thing too, as a guy that's wearing the badge that says Texas Toast Guitars on it, I'm not going to go around and
we didn't do anything tacky.
No, well, and just
eyeball
eyeball it until you find a fault. That's really bad. But there's things that you notice right away, and and I kind of made the rounds, and then I kind of made the rounds again. I kind of made the rounds again, and I go and talk to people, and try and meet all the different builders and talk to them for at least a few minutes. Yeah, it's interesting. Some of them are really open, and there were a few that were like less than open. Guys from Dunnable Guitars were really nice.
Super cool dudes
Sasha
at Dunnable. Yeah,
himself hung out at our booth for quite a while.
Was that Sasha Dunnable? He's like the
last name.
Oh wow. Okay.
He's the guy, as far as I know. But he was cool and nice and
very, very nice guy. Yeah. Okay, so
and really everybody was. It wasn't a us against them. It was a us. It was a we. Yeah.
Okay, so we got a few more minutes here. Let's go to day 2.
Okay.
Let's just hit the high points. Wide brushstrokes here. When the guys from Casino Guitars walked in, it was like when Gary and Wyatt walked into the candy bar, all the music stopped and it was like everybody went.
Some people may not get that reference.
Okay.
It was like when Elvis came into the building.
Yeah.
All of a sudden
it was definitely like, so Butch, the other guys that we basically went to that show to talk to the guys from Casino Guitars. I mean, when you really boil it right down, I guess we could have driven over to the guys driven over to Wildwood. I'm glad we didn't, because
we were pretty sure the guys from Casino were going to be there.
Yeah.
There were some other guys on our list that we weren't sure they were going to be there.
Yeah.
There was one notable absence that wasn't there that we didn't realize until yesterday or the day before. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
But yeah, we were pretty sure the guys from Casino Guitars were going to be there, and we'd heard for one thing, they're friends of Dylan's.
Yep.
And we heard they were going to be there, and we heard they were going to come by this show. So yeah.
Now, the guys from Casino, very, very nice. I talked with Taylor, who is Baxter's wife. And I also talked with Jonathan. And you and Jim talked with Baxter.
Yeah, with Baxter. Yeah. Until he had to go pee.
Yeah. Now,
or that's a good way to get out of talking to somebody.
I want to personally extend a thank you to the Dirty Knobs, who went on their live stream yesterday and said, hey, did you play Texas Toast guitars? And they talked about us for, 30 seconds on their live stream about like the NAMM show weekend and stuff. So that was very kind of him. And they had a lot of very cool stuff to say about.
And then you did a video.
That's right. Dylan and I did a video with Jonathan, and I can't remember the videographer guy's name because I'm an old man, so I can't remember everything. But boy, it was a lot of fun, and I think that will probably come out in the next week or so. I don't know.
That would be neat.
So Dylan says, remember when the Fender Custom Shop said they watched all your videos? Remember that? Yes, Dylan, I do remember that. So what Dylan's talking about is it was later on the last night of the show, and imagine this: you and Jim were at the bar. Dylan was like, I don't know where he was. He was making the rounds.
Well, so they cleared out the joint, and then they let more people in. After they gave everybody a little bit of a break.
So I'm sitting there, half disheveled, half exhausted. And a guy walks up to me. I kind of don't want to tell the story. I'm going to try to tell it in a way that doesn't
just hit the highlights.
Okay. A guy comes up to me and he says, hey, I thought that was you. I'm Dave Brown, and I'm a master builder at the Fender Custom Shop. So what a neat thing to know that. And then Dennis Galuska came up and said, and he's another master builder.
Was somewhat aware as well.
Super cool guys.
They were really fun to talk.
Dave was like, oh man, you guys got to come back out and I'll take you to the Fender. I will give you a tour of the custom shop and
tour of the custom shop. How long are you here for? Well, we're leaving tomorrow morning. Well, next time, let me know. It's no problem. I'll show you around.
So we've always kind of thought that some people from the Fender Custom Shop knew what we were doing.
And we've even talked to a few other people about that. But that was very cool.
But what nice guys.
Very nice guys. I met another master builder who was super cool. Scott Buell.
Okay. I don't think I met him.
Yeah, you didn't. It was cool.
Who was kind of a person you had no idea you were going to meet, but you met anyway? I guess a bunch of people from the Fender Custom Shop.
That's and Abigail Ibarra and saw some surf music players, and I talked to them for quite a while.
Right, you
that
did.
Was fun.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to roll in Chris Masterson from the Wallflowers.
Oh yeah!
What a nice guy!
Super cool guy.
The first time he made his rounds. He was walking around with one of the guys from the Psychedelic Furs.
Yeah. Oh, he sold me a T-shirt. Dave, your shirt was sold by a Psychedelic Fur.
And
true story.
So anyway, we're wandering, or he's wandering around the show, and he's like there for. He's got to deal with Fender, and he's got to deal with Gibson. And right now he's playing a Firebird, and so like he doesn't want to talk to us, but. Anyway, so like
I don't even remember how you trapped him.
He actually walked up to
guitar.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it was a cheetah guitar, and he looked like he should be playing.
He looked like he would be the kind of guy who would dig the cheetah guitar.
Yeah, that guitar is you.
Yeah. So anyway, he was wondering, and he's one of those guys who just looks like a rock star. Even if he's not, he just looks. I mean, he's a rock star, but like even if he wasn't,
you could kind of tell that he was.
Yeah.
Now I didn't recognize him.
Yeah.
But I could tell that he, to the right people, he is somebody.
Oh yeah, and he was another one of those guys that everybody kind of was like, oh, there he is, when he would walk by. But super nice guy, really cool. Dylan and I talked to him for a long, long time, and just a great guy. We had such a great time. Okay, so then last night there was a bunch of music, to include Buddy's kids in Starcrawler. Awesome band. I don't know if you know this, but Starcrawler was being played all weekend long during the show.
Oh, was it?
Their version of "If You're Going to Be Dumb, You Got to Be Tough."
Okay.
Their version of Pet Sematary, the Ramones song.
Yeah.
They were playing it all weekend long.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
I tended to try and block most of that out. Not because I didn't like it, just because it was,
But
that's interesting. But that whole thing was pretty interesting. And Buddy was a cool guy.
Buddy was really nice. Yeah.
For a ball buster.
He was telling me also, okay, someone's going to ask, because I wondered. I actually asked Mike. Mike, I'm like, Mike, are we going to be flying into like a fire? And he's like, well, no, you guys are going to be about 20, 30 miles away. Mike could probably remember. But like here in Colorado, all we see is Los Angeles is on fire. Now, if you're not 100% switched on to where everything is in the LA area or in Southern California area, you might think, as I did, that everything's on fire. And everything that's not on fire is in danger of catching on fire immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, we didn't have any of that, didn't see any of that, didn't smell any smoke, none of that stuff. But Buddy was talking about how he knew some guys who had lost their houses, and he actually got evacuated. And he was doing a thing in the park the Saturday after the show to kind of like just a fun thing, not like, hey, we're all here to do it. It was just, I'm just having a party and people can come and not think about that everything's on fire for a while.
Yeah.
We came home on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
You and I and Jim and Joy and Leslie went and got some lunch.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to bed for the whole rest of the day.
Yeah, that was basically what I did. I was sitting, attempting to look at Facebook and things, and just kept, so I sat on the couch and fell asleep.
Dave, you can drive for 2 hours and still be in Santa Ana if you're not careful. It takes longer to get anywhere.
It takes twice as long as it does here.
Yeah.
We got pretty good at getting from here to there.
Yeah.
It was really windy on Thursday, but the wind was going towards the west. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And then the next day was like the perfect California day.
It was really nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
it was a good trip.
Okay. So we're about wrapping up here. I think we've got about 6 more minutes. What did I not? I'm sure I missed something.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of little stuff that happened. I think the overwhelming idea is that we, at least for me, accomplished everything that I was hoping to do with this show.
Me too.
There's lots of follow-up to do. There's follow-up of things that, just that I want to do. I want to talk to Carlos more. I'd like to go out and maybe see him and go to the custom shop and see that and just get some inspiration from that stuff, follow up with potential dealers.
One thing I want to tell you guys was the Dylan series of guitars were incredibly well received. Everybody loved those things. And I don't know how you couldn't, because they're really awesome. If you got one of those, you are super lucky.
Yeah.
If you haven't, I think there's one left. And the neat thing is you can go to the Texas Toast website, look on the dealer page, click on Dylan. And this is what I told the guys in the video from the casino did. I'm like, if you go to my website, click on the Dylan thing, it'll take you to his website to buy. Like, I don't sell them. We don't sell them through our website. Dylan sells them through his.
Yeah.
So, and that's what we want to do with our dealer network once we get that established.
Yeah. Yep. And it was super cool of Dylan to come out and do this too. First of all, set it up. Second of all, come out and hang out. Yeah. And his tag said Texas Toast Guitars, didn't say Dylan Talks Tone. And so so he was a representative of Texas Toast. And it was super cool of him to do that.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that Dylan got a lot of good stuff out of this show too.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. I think the one thing that keeps coming up with this, and I think it happened even more at this show because it was smaller. One, you could actually talk to people and have conversations. Yeah. Because it just wasn't that big of a room and it wasn't that loud. And two, it's just meeting people and connecting and it's a bigger part of this thing that we have, the Texas, that was spit, that we have here with Texas Toast. is also, includes Dylan, also includes Flipside, also includes everybody at Woodwire and Volts, and, above all else, that's even cooler than the guitars.
I was going to say, above all else, there was no keyboard to hide behind. Well, everybody there was really nice.
Yeah. Keyboard, not key.
No. There was no keyboard commandos.
Yeah.
Or maybe there were, but
and that's another funny thing. Is people that know guitars looked at our guitars and said, these look really, really great. And you knew they were being truthful. And people that know respected that we were there.
Yeah. I was talking to you about this, and if I spent the next month being as positive as I possibly could, I don't think I'd feel as enthusiastic about being who I am as I did when I came back from that show.
Or doing what we do.
And because we were there with a bunch of really great builders, and we we represented ourselves, I think, very well. Our product looked fantastic, even compared to other people's.
And people told us.
Yeah. So, and it's one thing, with sometimes in the comment section, you don't always get to pay attention to the good stuff. You kind of focus on the rotten, mean things that people say. And that's too bad, but you do. So anyway.
Yep.
But yeah, so a great time, good show. And Jay, I'm going to get you your level 4. Actually, it might actually be even going right now. So anyway, I guess we're done. There will not be a reveal video tomorrow. There's nothing to reveal.
No, there is nothing.
There will be a Sunday video. In fact, there might not be a reveal video for many weeks. Oh no, there'll be one next week.
We'll do one next Friday because we have class next week. So
that's right.
Prepare to see some Fender style guitars.
I'm looking forward to those.
Fender style guitar builders.
Guys. Yeah. So anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. It's great to be back. I'll see you on Sunday for the regularly scheduled video. And until then, have a great night, everybody.